Welcome back. You are tuned in to IBL, inspired by Onika, speaking on life and inspiring people. Welcome to episode 7, and the title for today's episode is Get Your Laugh On, How to Know When You Are in the North and When You're in the South. So we're going to do a little comedy relief today. So there are some differences when you are in northern states and southern states, and for the purpose of today's episode, I'm going to say that the northern states are anything from the state of Virginia and up, but then again, Virginia is one of those weird states. It's not really northern, but it's not southern either, but we'll just leave that for now. So we'll say the northern states are anywhere from Virginia and up, and the southern states are going to be anything that's past Virginia. All right, so let's go ahead and get started for today. So you're in the north when you're at that traffic light and it turns green. You have a second, and I mean a second, to get your foot off the brake or start to move your car. So, and if you don't do that, what's going to happen?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going to happen is you're going to get blasted by somebody's horn. And I'm not talking about toot toot, beep beep. No, it's not going to be that kind of beep. They're going to lean on that horn, and then the bonus is going to be when you look in your rearview mirror, you're going to see the hand gestures. So they just want to know that you're alert. You know the light has changed and you need to start moving. Okay, so remember, take your foot off the brake or start to move your car even better. That's really what they want you to do. Now, you're in the north when you hear the constant sounds of ambulance, you hear police sirens, you hear the car horns blowing. So it's just like a northern melody is what it is. And you get used to it after a while. You don't even recognize it. It's kind of like you get so conditioned to hearing all those sounds all through the day and the night that it doesn't faze you in the least bit. It's just a melody. You'll just hear it all day long. Now, another way you know you're in the north is when you're in your car and there's bumper to bumper traffic. There's nowhere for you to go. There's no street you can turn down. There's no shoulder, but somehow that car behind you expects you to do something or move. So they're going to be blowing at you for no apparent reason. No apparent reason. Another way you know you're in the north is if you speak to somebody in passing that you don't know. You think they're going to speak back? You think they're going to speak back? Come on, take a guess. I just want you to take a guess. No, they're not going to speak back. And as a matter of fact, they might want to fight you and be like, I don't know you. Why are you speaking to me? Who are you? Looking at me. So whatever you do, don't stare at strangers when you're in the north. You just don't want to do that. Now, another way you know that you're in the north is when you see people wearing boots. When I say boots, I'm talking about Timbs of, 40 belows. When you see people wearing those in the summertime, you know you're in the north. Okay, boots are worn all year round in the north. So that's how you know. Another way you know you're in the north is you could be, especially for women. So your outfit can be cute, your hair is laid, you're looking good, right? But your sneakers are not clean. So let's say you're out somewhere and, there's a guy that's feeling you, but, he gonna look you up and down, look at your outfit. And then when he get down to them sneakers, if they dirty, he gonna be like, nah, her sneakers dirty. So that's what's going to happen in the north. So, you got to make sure you keep them sneakers clean. Now, another way you know you're in the north is if you're going to visit somebody and it's a place that you have never been to before, or maybe you only been there once before, so you're not really quite sure where you're going. So when they ask you who you coming to see, you better have the right name. You better know what floor you're going to, because if you don't, you're going to mess around and find out. Okay. And when I say when they ask you, I don't mean the doorman. I don't mean the man at the gate to the neighborhood. I'm talking about the fellas from the block. When they ask you who you coming to see, you better have the right name. Okay. Now, I would say the best thing to do for your safety is have that person meet you downstairs and walk you in. Have them meet you in the parking lot, anything. Just have somebody come down and meet you, because that way, it's just for your own safety. I'll just say that. And then, you're in the north when you can go to the store at midnight. A lot of things are going to be open at midnight. It's going to feel like it's, in the afternoon at 12 noon. So that's how you know you're in the north. And another way you know you're in the north is if you step on somebody's foot. Yeah. If you step on somebody's foot by accident, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you did it. It's the fact that you stepped on their foot, okay? They might punch you. They might push you. It doesn't matter. So just be very careful where you're going, especially somebody new kicks. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's not going to be good, okay? Another way you're in the north, is if you are talking to someone and one of those people in the conversation says to you, "You know what?" If anybody says, "You know what?" you already know whatever comes after that is going to be an argument. Okay, just be ready. When they say that, that means the next thing that it's going to be an argument. All right, y'all. So that's how you know when you're in the north. So now we're going to go ahead and move over to how you know you're in the south. So if you're at a traffic light in the south, and when the light turns green, you're going to sit there for about 5 minutes. Okay, don't expect to move right away. You're going to sit there for about 5 minutes. Nobody's going to blow the horn. So just be patient. Okay, that's how you know you're in the south. So you know how I was saying when you're in the north, you hear the sirens and it's like a melody. Well, in the south, you're going to hear birds and all types. Another way you know that you're in the south is how I said in the north you hear all the sirens, the police sirens and the car horns and things like that. Well, in the south, you're going to hear birds, you're going to hear all types of wildlife, and you ain't going to know if the cop is on your street unless you look out the window or if they're knocking on your door. Otherwise, you will never hear them coming. They are quiet as kept. Or you might see the lights. You might see the lights, from the car, but other than that, you're not going to know the cops on your block in the south. Okay, so that's one way you know you're in the south. Now, if you're in the south and you say hello to someone in passing, they're going to actually say hello back. And a bonus is you might actually get a smile from that person. So when you're in the south, that's how you know. And I'll take it one further. So they might even reach their hand out for a handshake, or they might try to reach in for a hug, just depending on the situation and the person. So that's how you know you're in the south. So in the south, when they see someone from the north wearing their boots in the summer, they're going to say, "Well, why are you wearing boots in the summertime?" But you know you're in the south because in the south, they wear flip-flops with a jacket in the winter. Okay, flip-flops are worn all year round in the south. So that's how you know that you're in the south. And then also in the south, now, remember I was talking about in the north, you'll get dissed if you have dirty sneakers. Well, in the south, your outfit, may be okay. Your sneakers might not be the cleanest sneakers, but that hair, excuse me, that hair is going to be laid, okay? So that hair is going to be on point. The outfit might be okay, the shoes might be okay, but the hair is going to be on point in the South, okay? Now, another way you know you're in the South is if you are lost and you're trying to find somebody's house, you're trying to visit someone, you don't know where you're going. Someone will see this and they'll be like, can I help you find something? You look like you're a little bit lost. Can I help you find somebody? Where are you trying to go? And then they'll be like, oh yeah, I know that person. I can take you to their house. So they're going to actually escort you to where you're going. They're not just going to say, oh, it's over there. They're going to take you to where you're going. And now sometimes it'll be out of niceness and other times it'll just be out of nosiness. So just know that. And then another way that you know you're in the South is someone says to you, bless your little heart or bless her heart. If anybody says this, now this is a tricky one because it could either be genuine or somebody can be throwing shade. But the only way you can figure this out is depending on what happened right before someone says that. Okay. So like I said, it's going to be the sweetest voice. Bless your heart. Bless your little heart. But again, you got to decide depending on what happened before that. That's how you'll know whether or not it's genuine or if somebody's throwing shade. All right. Now, another way that you know you're in the South is everything is going to shut down around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. You're not going to find too many things open late in the South. Okay, so don't even think about it. And a lot of things are going to be closed on a Sunday. All right, y'all. So that is the show for today. And I hope that you at least got a laugh or you can relate to some of these things that I'm talking about. And I know I'm making light of a lot of these things, but it is very, very important that no matter where you are, whether you're in the north or south, east or west, it doesn't matter. Just pay attention to your surroundings, know where you are. If you're somewhere you have no idea where you are, walk with your head up. Just walk with a purpose. Act like you know where you're going. Because if you don't, if anybody sees that, it's going to take 2 seconds and they're going to be on you. Okay, you don't want to fall victim to somebody's prey. You don't want to fall victim to that. So if you don't know where you're going, keep your head up, walk with purpose, act like you know exactly where you're going. Okay, just be aware because sometimes I feel like we get too comfortable. We get too comfortable and we don't do things that we would normally do. Like we may not lock our car doors all the time. We might walk in the house and we don't lock the door right away. Just different things like that. Just be very aware, or we're just very distracted when we're out in public, especially if you're alone. Just pay attention, be aware. So I want to thank you all for listening. If you like the episode, leave a like. If there's someone who you think would benefit or they can relate to the things that I'm talking about, share with them. And also, if there's something I forgot and left out, just, write in, leave a comment. Let me know what are some things that you've experienced or observed when it relates to being in the North and being in the South. So I want you all to have a wonderful day, and I will see you all next time. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of IBO. You can also hear this episode on YouTube at Inspired by Anika. Until next time, stay well and be blessed.